Race 1 for the RNG British Talent Cup yesterday at Snetterton was a rain-soaked affair. It was a good start for the number 75 of Filip Sorowiak until he went down and out at turn 2. There was a few crashes during the race, the number 11 as well, also going down. There was Ben Jolliffe also crashing out earlier on in treacherous conditions yesterday. Scott McPhee was also another one of the fallers. Lucas Brown had cleared out at the front. Meanwhile, we had a battle for second place between Peter Willis and the number 16 of Jack Burrows. It was Lucas Brown, though, that took fifth victory by some margin. Absolutely untouchable at the front. Peter Willis set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap and snatched second place from Jack Burrows. But what will the number 29 be able to do in race 2 today? Completely different conditions for race 2. The sun is out and we do have a dry race here. Lucas Brown, the number 29, did look very strong on Friday in the dry, 0.9 faster than anyone else out on circuit. He was clearly quick in the wet yesterday as well, and he will be starting from second place on the grid. Myself, Tristan Finocchiaro, will be bringing you the action in this one alongside me, Neil Mackenzie. Neil, a very different scenario today compared to what we saw yesterday.
Much better scenario today. We're really looking forward to seeing these youngsters perform in the dry. Very, very difficult, tricky conditions yesterday. Part of the surface here at Snetterton has resurfaced. All looks the same, but the grip level is different as you progress around the circuit. However, in the dry, that's not an issue at all. Fantastic surface, very flat here at Snetterton, very fast. No changes of elevation, but lots of interesting corners, and certainly a brilliant racetrack for this championship. There's going to be lots of slipstreaming going on today. The bigger guys in the British Talent Cup are doing their very best to be flexible and get tucked in, and the smaller guys will be using their advantage as well, where they can get tucked in and maybe carrying a little bit less weight. But it's going to be a cracking championship whatever. Lucas Brown is one of the bigger riders, but he is the man so far this season, the number 29.
Yeah, Lucas Brown was the man yesterday and has been the man pretty much all weekend here in the RNG British Talent Cup. He will be starting from the front row as well, so keep an eye out for that number 29. Peter Willis will be on pole position after setting the fastest lap of the race yesterday in the wet, so it's a perfect place for him to start. There will also be, we'll run through the grid very soon, but there'll also be, keep an eye out for Emmanuel Brinton will be coming back from further back on the grid, as well as Julian Correa and Filip Sorowiak. After a wet race yesterday, the grid has really been shaken up for this race 2.
Yeah, we do have a slightly different grid that we might imagine if it had been dry all weekend here at Snetterton. It was dry on the Friday, did get some dry track time, so good opportunity to make some setup changes, suspension and gearing and the like.
Here's the standings after yesterday's race then. The number 29, Lucas Brown, leads by 29 points ahead of Emmanuel Brinton, who'll be looking to carve his way through the field from 10th on the grid in this race. Julian Correa still sat in third position. He's unfortunately, due to the passing of John Creswell, will be running for the Wilson team this weekend and is running a lovely tribute on his machine, all black bike with the microlized Creswell logo on the side of the bike. So yeah, running in the Wilson garage this weekend. Here's the grid then. Peter Willis starting from pole position after setting the fastest lap in a wet race yesterday, ahead of Lucas Brown, who cleared up yesterday. Daniel Goodman as well, also on the front row. That'll be the first front row for him. Jack Burrows will start from the front of the second row, ahead of Alexander Rowan and Eli Banish. Filip Sorowiak only managed a couple of laps yesterday before crashing out, so he's down on row 3 in 7th place, ahead of George Bowes and Ollie Walker. Emmanuel Brinton didn't really get the hang of the wet conditions yesterday, so he's down in 10th place. He's your one of your championship contenders, so keep an eye out for him carving through the field ahead of Mason Foster and Josh Bannister. Julian Correa, as we mentioned, down in 13th on number 40, ahead of Bill Harris, who's stepping in for Ronnie Harris and the Irish Racing Garage this weekend, ahead of Tyler King. Row 6 is Harrison McKay, Clayton Edmonds and Scott McPhee. Down on row 7 we've got Ryan Frost, Joshua Raymond Jr. and Ben Jolliffe, who crashed out yesterday. And on the final row of the grid we've got Ewan Jones, Harley McCabe and Kyle Payne, who's doing his first weekend in the British Talent Cup this weekend. He's done some racing out in Spain and over in the Fab Racing Mini Bike Championships as well, and is facing the British Talent Cup for the first time this weekend. All the pressure at the moment, though, on the man with the momentum, the number 29, Lucas Brown, who's starting from the middle of that front row. He's going to have to try and get underneath Peter Willis as they head down into that first corner.
Great confidence booster yesterday for Peter Willis so far this season. He's only had a 7th and a couple of 12th places, but suddenly he was 2nd and he was so stunning in the wet yesterday. But that's going to give the number 99 there a great confidence boost, and great to see a Cresswell machine on pole position.
Dry track time here at Snetterton then for race 2 for the youngsters, the stars of the future here in the R&G British Talent Cup, and it's a perfect start for the number 29. He's alongside Jack Burrows, number 65, Alexander Rowan, getting up the inside into turn 1 as well there. So moves being made on this first lap. Philip Sorowiak looks as if he's eager to make up some positions as well. Peter Willis dives to the inside. Jack Burrows it is that leads the way. And a brilliant start there for Emmanuel Brinton. He's gotten up to 4th place from 10th on the grid. There's some problems further back though.
Yeah, Emmanuel Brinton seemed to struggle yesterday in wet conditions, wasn't quite feeling it, or whether he just got the bike set up wrong. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a contender today in these dry conditions. Willis got the jump there. He reacted so quickly, but seemed to lose out on the drag down to the first corner, whereas Lucas Brown did get away quite nicely.
Lucas Brown, like you say, got away quite nicely, but just beaten up in those first couple of corners. Alexander Rowan leads a race for, I'm pretty sure, what will be the first time in his career in this R&G British Talent Cup. Emmanuel Brinton will be looking to pounce as soon as possible, and does on the brakes. Can Lucas Brown find a way through? No way through there. We're going to think he's going to be trying to slipstream on that back straight, and track limits and a bit more there for the number 43.
White line. I thought that was going to be a grass moment there, but yeah, using every inch of the track. He really is a class act, Brinton. But look at these three already away at the front. Lucas Brown in hot pursuit.
Julian Correa as well, making up some positions a little bit further back. You can see him pulling out of the slipstream. Lucas Brown dives to the inside of the both of them. Then a brilliant move there from the number 29. It's between these two in the championship. It's Brown, your number 29, who leads by 29 points ahead of Brinton. So this is the battle for the championship you're seeing on circuit. It's just lap 1 of 12 at the moment. So we've got a long way to go in this one, but this is the battle we wanted to see between these two.
Yeah, there's never any question these two are going to put each other in each other's slipstream today, right at the front. Just trying to see where Peter Willis has dropped back a little bit, but as they come over the line for the first time, it is Brown and Brinton at the front. Two of the bigger riders in the championship, but they get tucked in so well.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see actually that the two bigger riders in the championship are actually the two riders at the front, and are the two riders who are fighting for this championship. Julian Correa as well is also in championship contention, 44 points back from Lucas Brown, and he's just made a move up into 4th place to get ahead of the number 75, Sorowiak, although he did go wide on the exit there, and I think Sorowiak might be able to pull that one back. Brinton then really needs to start beating Lucas Brown. It was looking like going into this season, Neil, that the favourite was Emmanuel Brinton. He was so fast in testing, topping all the sessions, but it hasn't quite happened for him in the races.
And so good last year in so many races. I really admired his race strategy. He was patient at times when he had to be, just kept himself in the leading bunch and got the job done. But certainly, judging by his body language today, he does want to put things right.
Sorowiak then bites back at Correa. Sorowiak, a rider you expect to see challenging for podiums and wins, has looked so strong this year since jumping onto that RS Racing machine and getting into the Royal Saxonby outfit. It was quick last year, picked up a win at Donington on a family run bike. So now, on a properly run outfit, is doing the business.
He is a quick rider, their number 75. Just unfortunately, he had that nasty fall yesterday, just got caught out with the surface on the brakes, didn't really do a lot wrong, but it was an awkward fall. I'm sure he got a bit of a rattle. Keep things careful as they head into Brunkles there. You don't want to get your front wheel clip on the left there. Tricky moment there.
Two at the front doing a brilliant job there. You just sort of feel like here though, Julian Correa, Philip Sorowiak do have a little bit more pace than Alexander Rowan just ahead of them, and really need to get past them here, because those top two positions are just running away from them at the moment. Correa has a look up the inside, and Murray's makes that one stick.
Sorowiak will get the drive though. He might even get a double slipstream here as they come over the line for the first flying lap.
Suraviak looks towards the inside, although that bike, the number 65, Alexander Rowan, has got the legs on that front straight. Julian Correa was complaining a little bit on Friday of a lack of power, of course, running out the Wilson outfit this weekend instead of the Creswell outfit, and was just just commenting that his bike was a little bit down on power. Did have a fuel pump issue on Friday in FP1 as well, which cost him some track time.
Every lap really counts, especially young riders. The more track time they can get, the better. And in theory, these bikes should be very equal. NSF 250 Hondas, just over 40 brake horsepower. Yeah, but definitely down to a good crew chief and good crew to get the very best out of them.
Quite interesting on Friday in free practice, Neil. Lucas Brown was fastest in both sessions, was fastest by 0.9 of a second. He was 4 mile an hour down in the speed traps, which I'm guessing is mostly down to his height, but he was doing all his laps completely on his own without a slipstream.
And that does make a difference. If you can get a nice slipstream, especially along the back straight, and especially if you are one of the bigger riders and not as aerodynamic as some of the smaller ones, then it can make a huge difference. It will be interesting just to keep an eye on speeds with these two as they head down the back straight. Lap time on that last lap, 2:04. That's a couple of seconds off the lap record. That is held by Evan Belford, last year's championship winner.
These two scrapping it out at the front then. Brinton up the inside of Lucas Brown. Brinton currently with the fastest lap of this race. Correa and Suraviak now have dispatched Alexander Rowan after Rowan had that mistake earlier on in this lap. And Ryan Frost is joining the party as well. He's up into P5 and has also gotten ahead of the number 65, Alexander Rowan. This is still a very good ride for Rowan. And he's looking to try and see if he can make a move up the inside of Ryan Frost here, and he does. He makes that stick. Frost will get the drive onto the front straight, though.
Yeah, Frost on one of the M-Lab bikes. I think Frost this year, he's come strong. He's been a consistent point scorer in the championship. Had a couple of podiums, including a win. And yeah, got 3 two-way battles here in the top 6.
Up the inside there, and a little bit of sideways action for the number 43. With it.
Can't help thinking this is going all the way to the checkered flag, and it might just be a bit of last lap strategy that gets the job done.
These two are completely locked together. I think you're right, Neil. This is going to go right to the checkered flag between these two, although they're quite eager to snap back at each other.
To keep leading, and they'll be able to tell by the pit boards that they are on their own, so they can keep things safe and maybe just leave the antics or the action for the last couple of laps. Was that a wave past? Did
I think
Lucas Brown just stick his hand down there and kind of indicate for Brinton to come past? Not sure. Maybe he wants a slipstream along the back straight.
Possibly so.
Oh, and now Manuel Brinton, I think, tapping his seat. So each wants the other to lead, it appears.
So let's see what happens down this back straight then. Does Lucas Brown want to lead? He's in his slipstream and he's slipstreaming past him down this back straight. So, although is he just rolling off there down that back straight?
Well, he didn't stay in his slipstream, and ideally you would have stayed in the slipstream to the last minute if you were thinking about a pass into Brundles, and then as I head out of the S's down to Bombhole. Yeah, each of these riders I imagine would want to be following as they head onto back straight on the last lap.
Here we go then, these two. Oh, and that's unfortunate. That's number 12 that's
Tyler
gone
King,
down
is it?
and out. Yeah, really unfortunate for King. Not the way he will have wanted to end this weekend here at Snetterton. These two out the front still locked together and swapping positions. Right in his slipstream down the back straight. Then we've got this battle for third. That's the number 75. That's Philip Suraviak. Just behind him is Julian Correa. You can see that all-black livery as a tribute to John Cresswell, who unfortunately very recently and suddenly lost his life. And Julian was saying that he was absolutely heartbroken at the news.
We all were. Lovely guy, lovely, massive part of the paddock for an awful lot of years. And extra special as he was involved in just helping so many youngsters along the road with their career.
Done so much for young riders in the British Talent Cup and back in Motorstar back in the day as well, and was a massive part of this British Talent Cup field.
Such a shame we had bad weather earlier in the weekend, because normally this race would be, you could cover, a blanket could cover maybe half a dozen or 8 riders, but things have been stretched out with a few incidents and not so good qualifying because of the wet conditions yesterday. Still great racing at the front, and I can't tell which way it's going to go. It's going to be so interesting in the closing laps.
Julian Correa has been so impressive this season. I mean, all the talk going into it was about Soroviak and Emmanuel Brinton fighting for the championship, but Julian Correa, he's had a little bit of bad luck. He had that incident back at Donington Park where he crashed out on the long lap penalty.
Yeah, he was on for a podium at Donington Park. In my opinion, commentating, he didn't do anything wrong, but he was given a long lap penalty. Unfortunately, when he entered the long lap at the bottom of the Melbourne Loop, he chucked to front where there was a bit of sand, bit of dust there. He didn't look like he did a lot wrong. Got a rain flag out there, but yeah, Correa was just unlucky at Donington. Otherwise, he could be a lot further up in the championship.
And that's not what we want to see after the day we had yesterday here at Snetterton. So rain flags out on circuit. We'll keep an eye on that one. I don't think at the moment it's not affecting anything out on circuit, and if it does, at this point it'll be mental rain.
It was forecast some showers to come around midday, and you're right, as the rain's falling, it's drying as quick as it's falling, and it is only spit, but we're nowhere near 2/3 distance, so this has been declared a dry race. If the heavens do open and there is a deluge, it will be stopped and restarted with wet tyres. But we'll have to see if we can get to 2/3 distance, and then it will be declared the result. But even more important for these guys to be leading over the line each time, because if it does go back a lap, then you want to be crossing that line in front.
There's absolutely nothing in it between them. I just had to hold my breath as they both tipped into turn 1 there, and Lucas Brown just tipped in across the front wheel of Emmanuel Brinton. Such a fast corner, that turn 1. Up the inside goes Brinton then. No, not this time around. Lucas Brown very strong on the brakes. Brinton having a little look though, perhaps a dress rehearsal for later on in this race. We're about halfway race distance here. Correa still all over the rear wheel of Soroviak, and Correa doing such a great job. Up the inside though goes Emmanuel Brinton. These two are gonna just keep doing this all race long.
Well, early in the race, I think they wanted each other to lead, and now if they have seen the rain flags, and there is a risk of it being red flag, or if they do get to 2/3 distance, a result being called, then if they want to be leading. But just looking at the lap time, certainly on that last lap times didn't drop off a lot, so the pace is being maintained at the moment, but the flags are still out, and they will be getting spots on the visor, which is always disconcerting and most difficult for the rider leading, because you don't know if you're rushing in, especially into the back straight, into a section of the track where it might suddenly be wet, when on the previous lap it was perfectly dry.
Yeah, and a tactic riders tend to use a lot as well is if you can get behind a bike. So, for example, now you've got Emmanuel Brinton up behind the number 29 of Lucas Brown. If you can keep an eye on that rear wheel, you know there's grip out there, or it's not wet enough until you see a wet strip around the middle of the tyre, and then you know it's time to ease off a little bit. Down the front straight though, that RS Racing machine blasts past the number 29 of Lucas Brown. Brown has a look up the inside at turn 1. He makes that stick. Is Brinton going to get the drive down into turn 2 to be able to bite straight back at his championship rival? He doesn't. Brown very late on the brakes there. I almost thought Brinton was going to make it up the inside, but Brown, as we've seen time and time again, so strong on the brakes.
Dropped a second on the lap times from the previous lap. We're just over 50% race distance now, so still a bit to go.
The lap times on that last lap off a little bit for the front two, so their fastest laps of the race, both of them were 2:04.6s. They were doing 2:06s on that last lap, and the two riders behind them were a second quicker on that last lap.
Yeah, catching. So that is going to be interesting. Maybe these two actually holding each other up, and they must be careful, because although Suriak is 3.9 seconds behind at this point in time, there's plenty of time for him to catch up, especially if these guys are tripping over each other and costing themselves some time.
Brinton leads the way then ahead of his championship rival Lucas Brown. It's so important for Brinton now to start beating Lucas Brown and clawing back that gap in the championship.
Bit steamy on the camera lens there as they head onto the back straight.
Bit steamy there. We do know there is some rain coming in. Brown up the inside, down the back straight.
That was last minute into Brundles.
Very last minute from the number 29, but it's just making sure Brinton knows who's boss here at Snetterton. Which way is this one going to go? 25 points for a win here in the Talent Cup, 20 for second place.
Coram then into Murray chicane. Will Brinton try a pass here? No, he chooses to stay behind Lucas Brown. Get a nice drive out there, maybe even get a bit of slipstream as they head up over the line.
And those two, Soroviak and Correa, are definitely catching these front two now. They are on the pace. Perhaps the rain flag's just affecting the two out the front, although 24.9 for the both of them. Soroviak now with the fastest lap of the race at 24.5. It's a big gap though, 3.6 seconds. It's a hefty ask.
It is. He's only taken 3/10 out of Emmanuel Brinton.
So it was just that last lap there where the rain flags initially came out and the front two just reeled off the pace ever so slightly, well, by a couple of seconds, and that gave Soroviak a little sniff. But if these guys carry on doing the 2:04s, it's going to be very difficult for Soroviak to bridge that gap.
I do think there's a bit of cat and mouse going on here because, yeah, the passes are coming too easy for these guys. They don't look like they're on the limit. They're riding fast, they're riding consistent, they're riding safe, but they're both saving everything for the last lap.
Well, they'll be seeing their pit boards. They'll know that it's just those two out the front. They'll have G2 on their pit board, which means Group 2, just the two of them. They'll have the gap to the riders behind.
Thing is, though, you've got to keep your head down. You've got to keep concentrating. You've got to keep focusing to the match. You take the eye off the ball, and mistakes happen.
Brown leads the way then. His championship rival, Emmanuel Brinton. They're swerving down that back straight as Emmanuel Brinton does take the lead once again. It's his second full season in British Talent Cup. Was fighting for the championship last year as well, as Brown ducks up the inside. They're swapping and changing positions in every part of this racetrack. I don't think there's been a corner on this track that they haven't made a move, maybe the bomb hole.
I don't think they know what the strategy is either. They've just got to keep battling it
Up
out
the
and
inside again.
Watch the lap. Never seen so many passes, and it shouldn't really be that easy, but they're important. They lead over the line, and they're just going to be watching the laps counted down here to make decisions. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen here. Maybe does one of them think they've got something left in the tank where they can get in front on the last lap and really pull the pin? Who knows? I'm sure they both think that.
Emmanuel Brinton, like we said, so important now to start scoring these points ahead of Lucas Brown and really showing that he is a championship threat, and he's doing everything he can to be able to do it. A tidy move up the inside there, but Brown's going to get the drive as they head down into turn 3.
You can see visually though, Correa and Suriak are closer, and it's under 3 seconds the gap now.
Emmanuel Brinton, known as Manny, was one of the youngest riders on the grid last year, currently living in the UK and in Valencia, Spain. He's also done some racing over in the European Talent Cup. His family pretty much moved to Spain to pursue his racing career. Now he's back in BSB and he's showing just what happens when you go out to Spain and train with riders like that. The level of training out there is just so much higher, and getting out with those riders in the European Talent Cup does really bring on your riding.
It really does. Big talent. Always admired the way he rode last year and this year, but Lucas Brown, great to see him pushing the man all the way. Oh, a bit of a wobble there for Emmanuel as he headed up the back straight, a little bit wide, just got onto a rough part of the track where the white lines and the curbs start. You can see a little bit of a bobble, and that all cost tenths of a second. Meanwhile, Correa and Suriak still lapping faster than the leading two.
Brinton almost losing the lead once again there, but Lucas Brown thought better of it. Ethiopian background for the number 43 makes him the first racer with Ethiopian heritage to compete at this level of a motorcycle racing. You can also see it on his helmet design. It reflects the Ethiopian colours on one side and the British flag colours on the other. You can see on the side of the bike there, K-Tech sponsorship. K-Tech's been a long-term supporter and sponsor of Emmanuel Brinton. And those K-Tech forks and Shock doing a great job around this Snetterton circuit. Brown looks to the inside again. We know he likes that move at turn 1. Brinton with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, a 2:04.4. Brown matching him with a 2:04.5, however. Those two in the background, they have brought the gap down a little bit, but it's still 3 seconds, nowhere near what it needs to be.
Not enough time. Sun's come out, rain flags have gone in. It is all to play for here.
Right then, it's getting towards crunch time here in the R&G British Talent Cup, and we've got the two championship rivals scrapping it out at the front of this race. They've been exchanging fastest laps. They've been exchanging track position, and it can only go one way. Which way is this going to go? Would you call it, Neil? Would you like to call it?
Based on history, Emmanuel Brinton he has been so clever in the last lap, but I can't fault Lucas Brown's season this year. He rides well, he looks like he's got something in hand, he rides very safe, he's huge talent, he's equaling Brinton's talent, but Brinton always seems to have something up his sleeve, maybe just saving a pass that just relying on maybe the kind of element of surprise really on the last lap. So yeah, Lucas Brown there shaking his head, knowing that he made a mistake. He didn't really want to cost himself some time there, getting very close to, if not past 2/3 distance, so it really is all to play for now. As I said, the track is dry, the rain's gone away, there's no risk as far as that's concerned, so it really is just going to be an all-out fight to the flag. But if you force me, I'd maybe put money on Brinton. He really wants to try and get his championship going this year, but Lucas Brown is riding on such an air of confidence, then it's a very difficult one to choose.
So if it finishes like this, if Brinton does get the better of Lucas Brown, the gap will reduce from 29 points to 24. There's still plenty of racing action to come in the British Talent Cup for the rest of this season. They are going to be going to the MotoGP round at Silverstone.
Yeah, this is only the third round, so 5 to go, all to play for, including that all-important, very special MotoGP round next up, beginning of August.
Brown hits the front again then. Brinton looking eager to hit straight back at the number 29. This is the 4th year in the category for Brown as Soroviak dives up the inside of Correa. There's also a battle for the final spot on this Snetterton podium happening as well between Correa and Soroviak.
Brinton just throwing fast laps at us now. Second off the lap record.
2:03.7 and a 2:03.8 for Brown. So the pace has suddenly gotten a lot quicker at the front. You were saying, Neil, it just felt like a little bit of cat and mouse, like they had something in reserve.
Definitely was, and fair play to both these guys, keeping it safe, just having a look at each other, letting each other make a move. But now they can't afford to do that. Penultimate lap, last lap time coming up in half a lap, so it's going to be in the still swapping positions.
Brinton takes the lead, but not for long as Brown gets the drive down. And now onto the back straight.
Yeah, for Brinton, that's okay, because he's going to get a nice drive out there. He's going to get tucked right into the number 29 slipstream. Oh, pull it out really early. Ducks to the inside, covers the inside line. Very difficult for Lucas Brown to repass him as a head into Brundles for the penultimate time.
Cleverly done there from Manuel Brinton, just as he got past Lucas, made sure to get in front of him. Oh, a bit of a moment there, a little bit too much engine braking.
Very much on the limit there, bit of a squirrely moment, heading down to the bomb hole, but yeah, skills are coming in, both these guys very comfortable pushing things to the limit.
Lucas Brown looking to move on next season. This is his 4th year in this category, and he wants to move up as a British champion. He was a champion in the MKGP 70 Championship back in 2020 on small gear bikes machines on karting circuits. That's in the mini bike championships, and now he wants to win a British Championship on the big circuits. It's final lap time, and the number 29 has taken the lead down into turn 1, but that's not going to be the only move we see on this lap. There's going to be another one here at turn 2 as Brinton ducks to the inside, sideways into turn 2 from Brinton. A little bit wide there, but not too much to be afraid of.
He's comfortable with that bike on the move as the number 43. Wasn't the problem there. He knew it was going to get sideways, still turned it in, pushed the front a little bit.
Bit of movement there as well.
Yeah, throwing everything at it, but it's not over yet.
This is far from over here. These are the two riders battling for the championship, and they're battling for victory here in the R&G British Talent Cup. Half a lap remaining. Which way is this going to go? Is it going to be the 43 or the number 29? You're going to think now for Lucas Brown, it's either going to be up the inside at this next corner,
I'd stay where I was if I was Lucas Brown, because you're going to get a nice slipstream. That is the place to be on this lap. If he can just perfect his exit onto the back straight here, and he's going to be in a good position.
We know he's strong under the bridge down into Brundle.
He's done exactly that. He's in the slipstream nice and early. He's maximising. I'm sure Brinton's going to go defensive as he does.
Trying to break that slipstream.
130, 140 mile an hour down here.
And he's played that well, Brinton. Made sure there was no way through for Lucas Brown. Is it going to be a lunge? No, there's a lunge there now. So is Brinton going to be able to bite back? It's your championship leader who hits the front. Just a few corners remaining here through the bomb hole for the final time. Now into Coram. Brinton's going to need a perfect run through Coram to try and dive up the inside if he can into the final corner.
Lucas Brown strong here. It needs to be into Murray's if Brinton's going to do anything. I don't think he's close enough. He's going to rely on hopefully getting a drive out here, but I don't think it's enough.
It's going to be a drag to the line. Has Brinton got enough in the tank to be able to get alongside number 29 of Lucas Brown? And he does. Which way is this going to go? It's a photo finish, but it is Brinton that takes victory ahead of Lucas Brown. Julian Correa gets the better of Filip Sorowiak for that final spot on the podium on that last lap. And it's going to be a lonely 5th place for Ryan Frost. Mason, oh, there's a big crash there. That's
Contact.
Alexander Rowan, who started from pole position, who started from the front row, sorry.
Looked like it was contact there. Maybe front brake.
And that's always horrible to see on the start-finish straight.
Rider,
and there's another rider out there. So drama on this final lap. There's Ben Jolliffe a little bit further back. And Jack Burrows almost making contact there with the number 11. So Ben Jolliffe is going to come home in what will be 17th position after the carnage on that final lap. So I hope Alexander Rowan is relatively okay after crashing out there.
On initially it looked like it was another day at the office. He just got up and walked away, but that was a huge crash. I hope he is okay.
So he seems to be up and okay there. But what a brilliant scrap we had. That is not a massive twist in the championship story, Neil, but it's swinging a little bit more towards the way of Emmanuel Brinton now.
It was classic British Talent Cup. A lot of slipstreaming involved. It's never over till it's over. And Brinton, I'm sure he wanted to lead all the way to the. I'm sure he wanted to lead all the way to the line, but actually, still, it's never over till it's over, and he did time that perfectly.
Here's that move from Lucas Brown up the inside, and he would have thought that he would have done enough there to bring that home to victory.
Yeah.
But here's how it happened over the line.
Yeah, Brinton was smart not to dive up the inside there. He really felt like if he's patient, then there's still a chance.
So close over the line, but that's what it was. That was 3rd place. That was Correa taking 3rd place from Sorowiak. Let's have a look at what happens with this crash again then, Neil. It's going to be in this group, this gaggle of riders just coming up now.
Alexander Rowan on the... Oh, he just got nudged to the right. He actually got nudged off the track, yeah.
That's always a fear in these low-capacity bikes. Here's the incident that we didn't see then. Just having a look up the inside and clips the rear wheel.
Yeah, just maybe misjudged corner speed of the rider in front, which is easily done.
That was Kyle Payne.
There he went.
So an unfortunate end to his first weekend in the RNG British Talent Cup for Kyle Payne.
Julian Correa is well happy with that. I'm pleased for him. Nice stoppy there. So.
And he should be. Given the circumstances, given everything that's happened, he travels to all the rounds from Florida.
Great ride there, and yeah, nice to see the tribute to John Cresswell on the bike as well.
Here's a confirmation of the results then. There was nothing in it, but it was Emmanuel Brinton that took victory ahead of Lucas Brown and Julian Correa in 3rd place, who just managed to get the better of Filip Sorowiak. Ryan Frost was in the lonely fifth place, with Mason Vonser taking 6th, 16 seconds back from the victory. The rookie this season just got the better of Bill Harris, Harrison McKay, Harley McCabe and George Bose, who rounded out the top 10. Ollie Walker took 13th in that one, ahead of Clayton Edmonds on the number 64 machine. Joshua Raymond Jr. picked up the final points in race 2 here at Snetterton for the RNG British Talent Cup. Manuel Brinton then looking extremely happy with that one. Played it cool, did exactly what he needed to do to get ahead of the number 29 of Lucas Brown. And the damage in the championship then. Lucas Brown it was that finished in second place. He had 29-point advantage going into this one, but he's now down to 24. Still plenty of racing action yet to come this season, and that is significant now. It's just under the amount of points you will receive for a race win. Julian Correa, difficult weekend for him given the circumstances, but picked up a podium and he's still in contention, 48 points back in at third place. Ryan Frost, fourth in the championship, with Filip Sorowiak currently rounding out the top 5 as it stands. The rest of the runners and riders then, George Bowes now 13th in the championship with Jack Burrows doing his championship plenty of favours this weekend with a good result yesterday in the wet. He's now 14th. 15th in the championship, Daniel Goodman with Bill Harris rounding out your top 20. Down in Park Fermé then, Shaky is with your winner, Emmanuel Brinton.
I certainly am. Thank you very, very much. Emmanuel Brinton, what a battle. I mean, that could have gone either way. I watched the whole thing, you and Lucas. I can't remember how many overtakes there were, but I have to ask one question. Was the move at the last chicane, was that intentional so that you could go for the sort of slipstream up to the start finish?
Well, I knew he was going to try there because he did it a couple of times before in the race, and I just let it happen because I knew I could get a good drag onto the line and slipstream him. But yeah, it was just a great race, really. I went into it with no plan, just going to have fun, and yeah, it was just a great race.
I think it's one of the most entertaining British Talent Cup races we've seen for a while between the two of you. So many overtakes. Absolutely fantastic racecraft. Well done on your victory.
Thanks. I just want to thank Gavara Projects, K-Tech Suspension, Shark, everyone that supported me, and yeah.
Keep up the good work. You've brought that points deficit down a little bit as well, so it's all good.
Yeah, thanks.
Well done.
Well, no plan for the number 43, Emmanuel Brinton. Perhaps he should take that approach more often because it clearly worked out for him and he's gotten one on his championship rival. So important for the championship, that is, for Emmanuel Brinton, getting the better of Lucas Brown. Lucas won't be too worried though. There's still a 24-point buffer between him and Emmanuel Brinton, but we've seen how fast Manny can be around some of these circuits. Lucas Brown, though, also doing the business. Here they are then. Julian Correa, he'll be happy with a podium. We know he always wants to win. He always wants to try and take that top step of the podium, but given all the circumstances surrounding his situation at the moment, it's an incredible result for the number 40. Lucas Brown, second place, then 20 points go the way of the number 29 towards his championship campaign though, but today he got beaten by the number 43, and that is significant in this championship battle. RS Racing do the business again, this time with Emmanuel Brinton. Correa looks happy with that third position, and he really should be. Travels to all the routes from Florida and ends up spending a lot of time and living with the Bowes family whilst he's over here. Emmanuel Brinton, though, incredible victory for the number 43. He does it in style here at Snetterton, beating his championship rival by a whisker just over the line. Here's how it went down then in race 2 for the R&G British Talent Cup for round 3 at Snetterton. It was a mixed grid due to a wet race yesterday, but the cream quickly rose to the top as Emmanuel Brinton and Lucas Brown quickly hit the front. They pulled away from the rest of the field and they were just swapping and changing positions as the race went on. Brown ever defensive, Brinton strong on the brakes, but so was Brown as these laps ticked away. Brown always getting the drive back up the inside. Little mistake there for the number 29, and that allowed Brinton through as the laps ticked away. Brinton strong on the brakes, but this was what happened on that final lap. Brown up the inside of Brinton, and it was then a drag to the line that saw Emmanuel Brinton snatch the victory from Lucas Brown, and that was 25 points towards his championship campaign. Julian Correa took third place, a brilliant third place for him ahead of Philip Saraviak, but it was Brinton that takes 25 points here at Snetterton.